that's good. No, that's fine. That's fine. Folks, thank you so much for coming. It is an honor to be the keynote. I'm the keynote, right? This is a keynote. I'm not just like giving it, this is the keynote. I'm calling it a keynote. If I'm not the keynote, I'm not claiming keynote. It's a great honor to talk with you here at the Libertarian Party of Ohio's 2020 convention. Thank you all for coming. Give yourselves a great round of applause for coming out here. I am slated to talk for 50 minutes.
Can you get a black piece of paper?
5-0. That's almost an hour. I'm going to up here for an hour. And because none of us have any interest in me just talking for an hour, least of all me, I'm going to be talking for just a little bit, about 10 minutes or so, a few minutes, and then I'm going to invite people to come up to these fantastic mics over here and ask you some questions. I think it's a better use of our time for you to get a chance to talk with me than for me to just rant at you. Because if you want to hear me rant, that's on Tuesday and Wednesday nights on my shows on Muddy Waters Media. Yeah, I am happy to be here in what is commonly referred to as the Rust Belt. Show of hands, who here is annoyed by the term Rust Belt? Because I find it incredibly patronizing and annoying.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so most people are okay with Rust Belt. Okay, fair enough. But it's, you know, a term, a colloquialism that denotes the fact that this is an area that has been so heavily affected by the barriers and burdens and taxes and other barriers that have been imposed upon it by the government that have so harmed the economy here, that a place that was once known for, you know, being such a center for production and manufacturing and great place to get a job has now increasingly become so economically depressed. This is also a state and an area known for police brutality and the shootings of Tamir Rice, John Crawford, Tyree King. This is a man and two children, really, who were shot by police because they had BB guns in an open carry state. Yeah, and it is also the city, Columbus, Ohio, which is where the murder and rape of Donna Castleberry happened. For those who don't know that story, Donna Castleberry was a sex worker who was rounded up and raped and murdered by a vice unit officer, and he was allowed to retire. And even though that vice unit was disbanded, all of those officers were just sent to different units. So that punishment did not happen because often the police are unfortunately not held accountable. But this is also a state for many hopeful stories that are very liberty-friendly stories. For example, the fact that your Supreme Court decided to grant you the petition access this year, so that all the libertarian candidates, including Joe and myself, will be on the ballot for 2020. It is anytime you want to applaud, do not let me stop you from applauding. Okay, thank you. Also, recently, I think actually earlier this month, Ohio passed an expansion of your marijuana decriminalization, which greatly expanded the amount that you could possess with it to be considered decriminalized. And of course, the recent arrest of your Speaker of the House. Householder? Not anymore. So funny story there.
Lock him up! Lock him up! Lock him up! Lock him up!
So funny story, I just got here from Illinois, and boy, no, I'm not going to do that. I just got here from Illinois, where when I was there, their Speaker of the House, Madigan, got arrested. So I am 2 for 2 on going and with the Republican Speaker of the House meeting, to announce a 50-state tour starting What's that? And DC. 50 states and DC and Guam. If they have a Speaker of the House, so, yeah, no, absolutely. Folks, we're in an unprecedented time, and I don't like to tell you. Every time we go outside, we're reminded of what we're facing. We are in the middle of a pandemic that has happened because the Centers for Disease Control, the organization that was created by the government supposedly to protect us against diseases, used their authority to ban medical professionals from testing for COVID-19 for nearly 2 months that they already knew that the virus was already here. And as a result of that, we're seeing the pandemic play out. We are seeing lockdowns that have happened as a result of that, where we were told whether or not we were essential, whether we were even allowed to go outside, while billionaires and major businesses were giving trillions of dollars in bailouts that you have to pay for, to the tune of $17,000 per American with interest. And the rest of us were given $1,200 and told to stay home until further notice. And we were told that if we went outside and didn't comply in any way, that they would lock us up and put us in jail and make sure that we got COVID-19. And the threat there, folks, is very explicit. Listen to what we say, or we will make sure that you get infected with a virus that we allowed to run roughshod over you. That is the logical conclusion of the Republicans and Democrats in their nearly 100, actually over 160 years of exclusive control of every lever of power in this government. Folks, we are seeing people out in the streets that are protesting the lockdowns, they're protesting police brutality, they are protesting the abuses and excesses of this government, large and small, and the police are often responding by brutalizing those protesters, while leaving the rest of those cities unpoliced and open to looting. So we are seeing the logical conclusion of that. And we are seeing people show record amounts of displeasure in government. And the Republicans have responded, and the Democrats have responded the way they always do, by putting up 2 terrible candidates and telling you, yes, they're terrible, but this is the most important election of our time, of our lives. And to prove that this is the most important election of our lives, we put up 2 terrible candidates, because that's how much we care about this important time. And the reason they do that is because they are telling you very clearly, we're going to give you 2 options. They both suck. We know that they both suck. We're going to convince you that one of them sucks slightly less than the other one. And you have to vote for that one, or else you're going to get the other one. And of course, any other viable option, anyone who doesn't suck, is just a vote for both of them. So if you vote for one, you get the other. If you vote for the other, you get that one. But if you vote for a third party, you get both of them. Which sounds to me like you're multiplying your vote by voting Libertarian. So, straight up. So we get the same old thing every single election cycle. You have to vote for the lesser evil. These are the people who put forward these politicians, by the way. They're saying straight up, yes, we're evil, but we're a lesser evil. Can you imagine if you were in this room right now?
Not lesser enough.
Was that?
Not lesser enough.
Not nearly lesser enough, and frankly, I'm not seeing the lesser part anymore. But can you imagine if we were in this room right now, and we came here to do this convention, and we were excited about promoting our lesser evil. That is what the Republicans do every day, without even a whiff of irony or shame. It happens every single election cycle. But here's the flip side of that. What an incredible opportunity we have. They have so overplayed their hands. They've gotten so used to the idea that they can just present terrible options. Donald Trump, Joe Biden, these are people who are uniquely terrible options. Donald Trump, a lifelong crony who has built his fortune around using government to harm those around him for his direct profit. So when he said, I'm going to drain the swamp, and what did he do? He doubled down on every single thing that came before him. He became the king of the swamp creatures. Joe Biden, who is part and parcel of every bad policy that has come out of government in the last nearly 60 years, when he's not busy sniffing children. These are the options that they give us. What an incredible opportunity for us to speak to people to say, no, these aren't your only options. We have real options. We have me. We have Joe Jorgensen and Spike Cohen and everyone here running in the Ohio Libertarian Party and in all 50 states. We have real options that are not a lesser evil. They are not a vote to stop someone else because, well, we're not good, but we'll stop someone else. We're a vote for common sense solutions that make sense and that will fix the problems that the Republicans have imposed upon all of us. And I thank you for your involvement. We have an opportunity to expose the cynical lies and give people hope. I talk to people in all walks of life, both online and offline, in this party and outside of it, every single day. and people are increasingly hopeless. They are depressed. They are anxious. They are literally scared to go outside. It is that bad. And that's how they want us. That is how the Republicrats and the well-heeled billionaire politically connected cronies who have bought and paid for these lying, pandering politicians to be in office, that's how they want us. They want us scared and anxious and depressed and hopeless. They want us not to have connections with other people. They want us lonely, and they want us desperate. Because of people who are broken in every way, who are anxious and fearful and lonely and hopeless, can be controlled. Because we just give up. Fine, you want to tell me what to do? Okay, fine, I give up. You apparently know better than me, so just tell me what to do. What an incredible opportunity for us to reach these folks. What an amazing opportunity for us to give these folks hope and to show them that it doesn't have to be this way. We don't have to choose between terrible options who give bad policies that put us in bad positions and then cynically show up every 4 years and go, well, this time if you vote for me, I will totally fix all of these things. But not until I get voted for. You gotta vote for me one more time. And then I will solve all the problems that I've imposed upon you for the past 4 years, really for the past 160 years. What an incredible opportunity. Folks, today I was at the police accountability rally, at the Black Lives Matter protest. Thank you. I was at the protest, and I got an opportunity to speak with the organizer and the spokesperson and some of the people there who were there with the Heartbeat movement. And they're a local Black Lives Matter group. And I went up, I didn't go there to give a speech because I think it's an odd optics for me to show up and say, hey, I'm a white person from out of state and I'd like to tell you what your problems are and how we're going to fix them. So instead what I did was I went there and listened to them. What a novel idea for a politician to listen to people who are being acutely harmed by the state on a daily basis, right? So we show up, and it was me and Kevin, and I don't want to leave anyone out, and a bunch of other libertarians that showed up, Chrissy, a bunch of other people that showed up to talk with the folks there, and I got to speak with the organizer and the spokesperson for the Heartbeat movement. They told me what they wanted. You want to guess what they wanted? They wanted to end qualified immunity. They wanted to end the war on drugs. They wanted to end civil asset forfeiture. They wanted to end no-knock raids. Basically, it was like they had come here and heard everything we wanted to do, and then went out there and said, yeah, that's what we want. So how easy was it for me, do you think, to show up and go, well, friends, I have some fantastic news for you, because Joe Jorgensen and I are running on exactly everything you just said, ending all of those things. Ending bad police officers accountable, and good policing so that we can feel the rift between the police and the public. Ending these policies that have led to such disproportionate use of force against marginalized communities, including people of color. I was able to say this, and you know what happened? In the 4 minutes that I spoke with them, they endorsed us. They endorsed the entire party. My first thought on getting endorsed that quickly was, that was a little too easy. But then I realized something. They don't have any other option. Who are their options? They have Donald Trump, who is cheerleading for police brutality right now. They have Joe Biden, who suddenly has decided he's against all the police brutality that his policies have necessarily imposed on all of them. And they know that. They know that both sides are either pandering to them or pandering to people who hate them. What other options do they have? All I had to do was show up. There's nothing magical around me. Well, maybe there's something magical. There's nothing incredibly magical about me. All I had to do was show up and say, and demonstrate that I was listening to what they had to say, reflect back that I understood what their issues were, and demonstrate that we actually wanted to solve the problems. They endorsed us on the spot. Not just Joe Jorgensen and me, the entire party. They didn't even know what the party was called. They said we endorsed the Liberation Party, which, by the way, I think is a fantastic name. If we ever want to rebrand, Liberation Party. I gave them hope. Very, very, very briefly, and showed them that there was another way, and they endorsed us. They're going to vote for us. They were live streaming, telling all their supporters to vote for us. It is that easy. Folks, I often say that you are the power, and it's become kind of a thing now. I say, I'm Sway Cohen and you are the power. and it's fun. I like doing it. People ask me, what does that mean, you are the power? Is it some kind of pander? And I go, I never pander to you. You people are far too intelligent for me to pander to. And you look fantastic too. Have you lost weight? Because it looks like you lost weight. Have you been working out? Because I totally see it. No, when I say you are the power, some of you have lost weight, by the way. No, some of you haven't. The Keynote does a slight dig on that. No, when I say you are the power, what I mean is that you have the power to solve this. You have the power to work with me and Joe and Kevin and everyone else that's running for office here. You have the power to show people that there's another way. The Republicans and Democrats have made this so easy for us. They make ballot access hard, they make getting in the debates hard, but they make selling our ideas so easy because theirs are so demonstrably terrible and they aren't even trying to say that they work anymore. Literally all they say now is, well, yeah, we suck, but they suck more. All we have to do is show up and say, well, we don't suck at all, and we actually have good ideas. And in fact, often, the ideas we have are the ones they're already calling for. Right there at the State House, they're protesting for what we actually have as our platform, things that we have been pushing for nearly 50 years now. How easy is it for us to do this? What an amazing, incredible opportunity that each and every one of you have to reach people where they are and to demonstrate that we care and then to take them on the journey for how our common sense libertarian solutions are the way to fix the problems that the Republicans and Democrats have imposed upon them. What a fantastic time for us. Woo! And I have people ask me this often. Well, how do we do that? Well, the very second they disagree with us, we call them bootlickers. No. The way that you reach people, and I learned this in my nearly 20 years of owning and growing my business, in the leadership and communication skills that I learned, and then that I've learned with Money Waters Media. It's a very simple formula. You meet people where they are, from their, not just in their spaces, like we did today, but from their precepts and using their nomenclature. And instead of arguing with them about ideas, we agree with their concerns and we show them how our ideas work. Scott Horton, one of my friends, Scott Horton, I'm now name dropping. Scott Horton says often that we're better than the left on the things the left cares about. We're better than the right on the things that the right cares about. For that matter, we're better than the middle, the centrists and the moderates on what they care about too. So why are we arguing with them? We agree that their concerns are valid. We agree that their fears are valid, their concerns, the things that they want to see, their hopes and their dreams. These things are all valid. There's no need to argue with them. We meet them where they are, in their spaces, from their precepts, using their preferred nomenclature. We demonstrate that we're listening to them. We give them the opportunity, that catharsis, to share with us their ideas. And now we are, while we're doing that, we are also identifying their concerns. And because we're all libertarians and we're all super systemized here and we all know how libertarianism works, every single person I've talked to this week, these past couple of days, every single one I've talked to, I don't have to explain the platform to you, you already know it. You're all evangelists for liberty. I don't have to tell you what to do. Literally all you have to do is listen to what they have to say, reflect it back to them that you heard what they were saying, and then take them on the journey for how our common sense libertarian solutions will fix the exact problems that they presented to you and address those concerns so that we can live freer and safer and happier and healthier lives. It's a very simple formula. Each and one of you, I believe in you that you're going to do it because you are the power, and I really do mean that. And some of you really did lose weight. So, I want to close out, well first we're going to do some Q&A after this, but I want to close out on this part of this by saying that I believe we can win this. And I am a libertarian saying I believe that we can win the presidential election. I know the odds that we face. I know what our previous high watermarks were. I know how to say high watermarks, I just heard that. But here's what I believe. We can get that 15% to get on the debate stage. And when that happens, the American people will see three options. Joe Biden and Donald Trump, two men who can barely form a coherent sentence between the two of them, and who are part and parcel of every bad thing that has happened in this government for decades. And in between them, Jo Jorgensen, a brilliant self-made entrepreneur, a woman who's ready to lead from day one, someone who's going to be able to stand between them when they do their typical lesser evil Republican rope-a-dope nonsense. Oh, well, I'm bad, but you're bad. Worse. Well, I'm bad, but you're worse. And she can stand in the middle and say, yeah, no, you're both terrible. And then explain how they created these problems and how her solutions, how our solutions will fix those problems. When that happens, I believe we'll win this. I believe it will be an emperor has no clothes moment for the American people. They will see that there's only one viable option up there, and that the other two are a wasted vote, a vote thrown away. So I believe that we can win this. And I will be spending every single day between now and November 3rd to fight for this ticket, for everyone else running on every single state, and DC, for the Libertarian Party, and for this entire party and this movement. Now, who's with me? But I invite any questions anyone has, and then whoever's running this can tell me when we have to stop. So we have questions. Oh, wow. So if anyone wants to go, are these mics working? Anyone who has any questions, feel free to walk up to the mic and ask your questions. And if anyone who's too shy and doesn't want to ask questions right now and would prefer to come up to me afterwards and ask the questions, I'd be happy to answer them then as well. Michael, you have a question?
Spike,
Yes.
will you help us sell some of our auction items?
I will absolutely help you sell auction. Wait, you like auctioneer? Like they have Gosh, yeah, I'm definitely going to need more water for that. Yeah, no, I can do that, and I also will help by anything that is there or that you have that you would like me to sign, either as an auction item or in exchange for a donation to the campaign or the Libertarian Party of Ohio. I would be happy to sign and personalize. Let's try to keep it PG when I'm signing. What's that? I'm aware of that, yeah. Dustin, you have a question? Oh. So far this, yeah.
What event so far the most fun part?
Okay, what has been the most challenging part of
Running as a libertarian.
running as a libertarian? Oh man, well, I mean, our private jet could be nicer. No. I honestly, the way to go thing, we get people that go, your ideas are great. This sounds like the best thing I've ever heard. I think it's big people. And I love saying, well, we have a better shot of winning if you voted for us. But what I do in those times is, I ask them, who would you rather vote for if not for us? Whichever they say, Biden, Trump, whoever, I'll say, why don't you like, so if they say Biden, I'll say, why don't you like Trump? And whatever they say, I'll say, that's Biden too. You just described Biden too. Or vice versa. If they say that, they'd rather not have Biden, and I'll say why, and I'll say, well, that describes Trump too. And then once they say that, once we go through that, I'll say, so now that we've disabused ourselves of the notion that either of these are even remotely good option, whether we can win or not, or whether you think we can win or not, who else would you want to vote for?
No one.
And that's the first step. The first group of people we're going to get aren't necessarily going to be the ones who right now are worried about who's going to win, because they're voting in a very strategic way. They're not, if they're voting for Republican A or Republican B, but they're thinking strategically, and they're thinking, well, I can't vote for this option because they're not going to win. We don't get them. We get the people who are so disillusioned and disenfranchised and left behind by the system that they're going to vote for us if they're the only ones who do. Once we get enough of them, and especially once we get on the debate stage, it'll be a snowball effect. The rest of them are going to come in. The ones who will say, oh, well, I guess they actually can win. Then we'll get them, and then we'll start getting people who are voting for us because of the fear of missing out. But so it happens very quickly the other way. But I would say that was the hardest thing, and it's the one that I cherish. I want to be the one, and I believe that each of you can be the ones to answer that response, to respond to that answer of, well, I don't think you can win. Okay, well, why would you want the other ones to win? So that's my answer to that.
My mic works. My mic works.
Yes, no, it's fantastic. We're uphill from here. Go ahead.
As you know, Spike, I'm running for Congress. So being a little bit more specific, you mentioned getting on the debate stage. What are your thoughts on us working together, candidates and you, so that you take over Ohio, so you take Ohio in the election? What kind of strategic moves are you thinking we need to do to work together for the next 3 months?
Absolutely. So we are trying to endorse and promote at least one down ballot candidate per day on our social media. We can't reach all of them, unfortunately, but we're trying to do as many as we can. And so the policy there is, and I think I've given you my link to fill out so that we can start promoting you. If I will talk to you afterwards if I haven't. But we are asking down ballot candidates to actually reach out to us. We have a form you can fill out to give your basic info about your campaign, give us a headshot, your social media, all of that, so we can endorse you and promote you on social media. This is a grassroots across the board campaign. We don't have the hundreds of millions of dollars that the cronies hand to the Republicans in order to get them to win. The way we win is person by person, one at a time, changing hearts and minds. This is why I say that you are the army of liberty, fighting for a world set free in our time. This is what we do every single day. And to that effect of what you're asking, we are supporting the down ballot candidates as much as we can to make sure that you get as much support as you possibly can. And in turn, you and the grassroots people here in the local and state affiliates are working every day to get the word out about the Jorgensen Cohen campaign and the Libertarian Party, the entire slate of candidates and our movement at large. So but I will get to you after this, and I'll give you that link.
Can we be successful without engaging some sort of media? You're pretty much an expert on different types of media, at least.
Well,
How can we engage the media?
we engage the media on our terms. We get attention with earned media by taking bold positions on tough topical subjects that the Republicans and Democrats are scared to take because it would upset their apple carts. When we do that, we get the attention, we get in front of the media on our terms. And instead of showing up and giving agreeable answers to their gotcha questions where they're looking for our next Aleppo moment instead. By the way, I know what Aleppo is. It is a hybrid between a leopard and a hippo. Okay, so everyone know. I know what it is. I know what it is. It's okay. As a young baby mom, I know. I love them. They're adorable. But you know, instead of waiting for them to hand us our next Aleppo gotcha question, we go on our terms. And when they ask us questions, we challenge the premise of it and reframe it in the way that we want it. I just did that recently with an interview on primetime news outside in the Peoria area in Illinois, where they were trying to frame it around, well, you're a libertarian, but what about these masks? You know, people's wearing masks reduces the spread. Do you agree with Donald Trump or do you agree with Joe Biden? And I reframed it. I said the CDC is the reason why we even have this pandemic to begin with. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the fact that the federal government is the reason that we're even facing the worst outcome so far of any developed country right now, because the CDC actually told doctors, you cannot test for this until we make our own test kits. Oh, and even though they're really easy to make, we spent 2 months on it and they keep not working. Now, meanwhile, these doctors were able to turn around, make these kits in-house, and they were working from day one, just to demonstrate how much government sucks. I know I'm on a rant. But the point is that I changed it. I changed the narrative on that. I changed on that, and I forget what the other question, oh, police brutality. I changed the narrative on that question. They brought us in to use us as a wedge against either the Republicans or the Democrats. I changed it around and said, no, I'm a libertarian. I am running to tell you that they both suck, that the government that they've created is leading to harmful and inequitable and abusive outcomes, and we have the solutions to fix it so that these problems would never happen in the first place. So, oh, for God's sake. Just say it loud, I'm sorry.
How can you
garner 15% of the population.
Yeah.
Favorable.
For the polls, yeah.
Precisely. And the pollsters will not acknowledge your existence.
That's an excellent question. So, for those who didn't hear, he asked, how are we able to get 15% of the polls when many of the polls won't even acknowledge our existence? Now, we have good news for 2016. Gary Johnson and Bill Weld, they were able to get 13% in one poll and 11% in two other polls. What's happened in the last 4 years? Americans, what? Yes, correct. That was the most precise way to answer that. Two things have happened. Many things have happened. The two main things in this regard are people hate government more than they've hated it since as long as I've been alive. And they certainly hate the two options that they've been given more than any of the other two options they've been given since I was alive, at least. And the other thing that's happened is the dying TV news media has that much less control of the share of media that people consume, and social media, where we are far more represented, has a greater share. I believe that is enough, all other things being equal, for us to be able to get that 15% and for America to have its emperor has no clothes moment to see that Joe Jorgensen is the best option on the debate stage there with Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Now, to your question about they're not acknowledging us, we know why they're not acknowledging us, because we have the best ideas. The short answer is that we just have to keep plowing forward. We have to get attention, we have to earn media, we have to work at the grassroots until they can't ignore us anymore. And I believe we'll be able to do that. If Gary and Bill were able to get 13 and 11 and 11, all due respect to Bill especially, I believe that Joe and I can get that 15%. So, thank you.
Yes.
So, super urgent question. Have you seen Dustin Nana's keys? They're on an OSU. Candidates to leverage social media in this particular campaign season where maybe knocking doors is not going to be an option for that community?
Yeah, so that's the biggest problem, right? Because local candidates rely on retail politics. Retail politics is exceedingly difficult when you're not allowed to do it. Or even if you are allowed to do it, no one wants to participate. So even in places in South Carolina, it's legal for us to knock on doors right now. No one wants to answer the door to a stranger, especially not if you're showing up, hey, would you like to touch all this stuff that I've already touched and now you can have it in your home? I've been touching it, so have a bunch of other people. No one wants to do that right now, right? So it makes it very, very difficult. The answer is that what we're doing on a national scale is what down ballot candidates can be doing on a local and regional scale. Find the hot button topical issues in your area. Take bold, libertarian, unapologetic solutions on stances on those things. Leverage your local social media as much as possible. Go into Facebook groups and next door. If you really want to have fun, go into these different social media and forum groups that are local, and make a name for yourself, and make it so that they can't ignore you. It's actually a fantastic opportunity because right now, everyone is more connected on a day-to-day basis than they ever have been because they're all online. If you can leverage that, get in front of the Facebook groups and the other social media groups and forums and other things that are in your area, and as things open up, try to be at as many offline events as possible, in-person events as possible, and you can do that. You can bridge that gap and make a name for yourself. And the most important thing that you are doing, yes, you're trying to get in the debates, in your local debates. Yes, you're trying to get elected. You're trying to change people's minds and affect the greater cultural conversation, which right now is just two groups of people arguing over how much bigger government should be, how much more influence and control it should have over our lives, how much smaller we should be in our own homes and our own effects, how much less control we should have over our lives. And we have the most empowering and empathetic and I'm ranting again, most empowering and empathetic and engaging message in politics. The libertarian message. You own yourself. You own your life,
Yes.
your body. You own your labor. You own
Yes.
the product of your labor.
That's
You own your
right.
property. These things are inherent to you. The Libertarian Party will stand by you against anyone who would try to take from you or impose upon your autonomy or not give you back your power. It is an incredible message, and it's something that can be done at the local level, and the best way to do it is to engage your community as much as you possibly can.
Show up.
Show up. You gotta show up. I showed up. Here. That's how I'm ending this, thank you. So folks,
You look like you
like I
lost
said-
weight.
What's that?
You look like you lost weight.
You look like you lost weight. Hi, that's what you can say. You say, hi, I'm running for city council, and you look fantastic. So folks, oh, I'm sorry, you have a question. Go.
Yeah, so one of the big things I do here in Ohio is candidate recruitment and engagement. What advice would you have to people that are on the fence about running for office, or thinking about it, or looking forward to it in the future?
Run away. No. Running for office is a fantastic opportunity to leverage that run to spread a message of unvarnished liberty. When I went to this rally, I didn't show up and say, hey, I'm Spike Cohen. What do you have to tell me about this? I'd like to listen. I said, I'm Spike Cohen and I'm running for vice president. And simply saying that gave me an unearned level of respect, frankly, that gave more importance to the fact that I was listening to them. And the words that I had instantly have more gravity. Now, as libertarians, we don't like that. The fact that I'm a politician having that instantly giving me more weight, we bristle at that because we don't like this idea of presumed authority. That's why we're here. That's why we're libertarians. That's why we're fighting for what we're fighting for. But it does exist, and we can leverage that to be able to reach people in ways that just saying, hey, my name's Bill, and I'd like to talk to you about freedom. But if you say, hey, I'm Bill, and I'm running for such and such, and I'd like to talk to you about freedom, you already have their attention a little bit more, especially, again, if you leverage that as an opportunity to listen to what they have to say, meet them where they are, reflect back that you are validating their concerns, and then taking them on the journey to liberty.
Well, how in the world can libertarians actually make big breakthroughs in a sensationalized media that rather sell their favorite Weber tempo than they would about solutions?
We have to play the game. To some extent, I should say this, we have to play the game of leveraging the public and the media's appetite for amazing, bold things. So we become conditioned, politics increasingly looks like professional wrestling. And that's why I tore my shirt off. No. The politics increasingly looks like, thank you. Please don't applaud that. Don't encourage that. But politics increasingly looks like, some kind of like performance art. Because it is. Let's be very clear here. I am going in front of 330 million people and saying, hey, I'm Spike Cohen. I should be the second most powerful person in this country. Now vote for me. That is, thank you for your vote of confidence. But that is what we're doing. There is theater involved. It is theater. For me to show up and be like, yeah, no one is qualified for this job I'm seeking, so they should vote for me. That is theater in and of itself. So it's okay to be theatrical. It's okay to embrace the reality that when people are looking for things, when people are looking for politicians, they go to where the most motion is. They go to where the most noise is. Now, you don't make noise for the sake of it, and you don't be outrageous for the sake of it. Use the opportunity that you have when you're running to spread an unvarnished message in a bold way, using bold messaging that gets people's attention. And then when you get their attention, demonstrate that you're listening to them. Demonstrate that you care about their concerns. Take them on that journey to libertarianism. So, go ahead. I'm sorry, next question.
So earlier you were talking about the rally you were at, the people you introduced yourself to, how they now endorse you, Joe, and the party.
Yeah.
The issues you specifically mentioned are predominantly favored by the Democrat left-leaning voters. Has the campaign nationally decided to try to reach out to people who are not native English speakers who predominantly vote Democrat? Hispanics, Muslims, stuff along those lines. Is there anything in the campaign coming up for that?
We do have Latinos and Hispanics for Jorgensen Cohen groups. We have outreach in all different faith communities, including Islamic communities. We are reaching people, again, that's part of reaching people where they are. Some people bristle at the idea of what they call identity politics. And there are two kinds of identity politics. One is people forming groups based on various identities. I actually came to libertarianism on identity politics. I came in on entrepreneurial identity politics. I cared about my concerns as a small business owner. And then once I was here, I saw that it was about so much more than that. It wasn't just about deregulation so I can make more money and provide better values to my customers. It was about setting people free. It was about creating a new reality where we had control over our lives and decision making, and we had the power back in our hands where it always belonged. But I was brought in on my identity. Version of identity politics where you weaponize people's identities and tell them that because you are X, you must vote X, or vote Y. I guess if you are X, you don't vote for yourself. Vote Y. I suck at algebra, I'm sorry. But that you are, you're in this group, so you have to vote this way. Like, for example, Joe Biden saying that if you don't vote for a man who is synonymous and part and parcel and the architect of the militarized police state, you ain't black. That would be a bad example. That's an example of a bad identity politics. But reaching people in their groups and their concern groups and their identities and their where they are freely associated, reaching them there, listening to their concerns, agreeing and validating those concerns from their precepts. That is how we can reach people. And so, to answer your question about, we're reaching out to all various groups. Now, you were saying that those are things, ending civil asset forfeiture and the war on drugs and those things are things that left-leaning and Democrats support. You're right, and the Democrats aren't proposing it. You know what the Democrats are proposing? Nonsense. Police accountability bills that are really just more money being given to police unions. We see this on the right. What does the right like to talk about? Well, now they like talking about making liberals cry, but what did they used to like talking about? They used to like talking about small government. Small government, lower taxes, lower spending, ending the deficit, lowering the national debt, making our money valuable again.
And they haven't done that in my lifetime.
They haven't done that ever. They've never done that. And that's what we have. We have Democrats and Republicans are good at two things. Pandering, and then doing whatever the hell they were planning on doing once they got into office anyway. There are two things. I'm going to do more. From now on, I'm only going to do my show in front of a live audience. There are two things that Republicans agree on. One is that every day is a special new day to screw over the American people that much more than they did the day before. And two, everyone else should be shut out from being able to try to stop them.
Yep.
But going back to that number one, they're good at saying the things. They're good at saying, we're going to reduce government, cut spending, and put that power back in your hands. They don't do it. And the Democrats are good at saying, we're going to implement justice by holding bad police accountable and ending the war on drugs. They're not going to do that. They've already primed the pump. We just show up and go, yeah, you're both right, but also you both suck. You created this problem. We're the ones who are actually going to fix it. What a fantastic opportunity.
Instead of add a side note, during your speech, I kind of got it, got a good idea of like selling the Libertarian Party as the Liberation Party.
I love this rebranding. So it was one of the members wrote and said, we are endorsing Spike Cohen and Joe Jorgensen of the Liberation Party. And I was like, that's funny, they didn't know. And I went, wow, that's actually a good name for the party. So I'm not saying we need to rebrand the party. I'm not saying that we shouldn't either. What I'm saying, I'm not saying we should rebrand the party. What I'm saying is that if at any point a consensus develops that we don't like the name Libertarian anymore, Liberation might be a good backup.
Amen.
So, but even more importantly, we can remain the Libertarian Party, but I am embracing that we are the Liberation Party. We are the party of setting people free.
I'd like to rise in motion to amend the rebranding of the party.
Point of personal privilege. Dilatory. Yes, Ms. Harless.
I called the question.
Shut the door, please.
I am so sad I didn't get to say that today. Where the hell was she?
So, folks, it looks like I answered everyone's questions. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It looks like I answered everyone but one's question. Sorry, go ahead.
My question is about reparations.
Step up to the mic.
What you feel about the reparations issue right now. It's not a
Yes.
easy one to answer.
Let's
but
end on an
have
easy
you-
one.
Have you read Dr. Verity's work on it? Because it's not as straightforward as it sounds when you just say, okay, we don't want to take money from people, give it to someone else. It's
Yes.
not just redistribution.
Yes. I have not read that book. I've heard of it, but I've not read it. I've not heard his writings on it. Reparations. Man, how do I want to answer this
I would
non-controversial
say
question?
read the book, read one of Dr. Verity's books before you answer
That's even better. I can't read that. I can't answer your question well until I read Dr. Gary's writings. Thank you. And now with that bold answer as my final response, that bold, unapologetic answer, I actually, yeah, no, I'll read that first, and then I'll make a video about it, and I'll tag the party, and then you'll see my answer. Because I'm not avoiding that question, but whew.
That's a good answer. Good answer.
Thank you. Phew, that's my answer often. So folks, thank you again. Get all your stuff that you want to sign. If you want me to. Oh wait, am I doing the actual $10, $15? No. Thank you. Thank you. I did not want.
Silent.
I did not want. If there's an individual item you want me to go over and do that, I'd rather not. But I will. I will if you absolutely twist my arm, guys. Again. There is no way to say this without sounding like I'm pandering, but I'm not. I love y'all. What y'all do every single day is so inspiring. Coming to places like here, coming to places like Columbus, and seeing people, many of whom I've never even met, who are on the ground every day and on their computers and phones every day, fighting to set this world free in our times. Knowing the odds that we face and cherishing the opportunity to do so. There's nothing I can say to say how proud I am of you, how honored I am to be fighting alongside all of you. And I thank you so much for having me here, and I thank you for everything that you do every day. And let's go win this thing, guys. Let's go win it.
Yeah.
Can we have the auction committee up front?